Welcome to this week's edition of Talkin Tech. Hometeam Brandon Leak, the all-time leading passer at Georgia Tech, the College Football Hall of Famer, the Super Bowl champion, Davey O'Brien Award winner, and the All-American Joe Hamilton, and Coach Sean Nerny. We are here to break down last week's matchup and see what we can get going into this weekend's matchup against the Virginia Cavaliers. Last week, I thought it was not taking advantage of opportunities. Defense coming up with major plays in the first half, 3 turnovers, couple of picks. You couldn't find a way to score off of those turnovers. And I think moving forward, even if you get field goals, learning to get points off of turnovers, I think it's the next step when you're having a defense perform like that.
Yeah, you never really know what's going to rear its ugly head within a game. We've seen it all from the Yellow Jackets thus far. Not starting off fast in the first half, kind of being lackadaisical in the second half, turnovers, not stopping the run. But this particular game is kind of interesting because you had a chance to beat Pitt. You were there. It's one thing about going into a game and saying, let's just develop, let's just get better each and every down, a game within the game. But to be 7 points away at the goal line fumbling, that's 7 off the board. To be down and you miss a chip shot field goal off of a turnover, those things can't happen. But I tell you a very, very big positive, Nerny, is that when Lucas Johnson fumbled the ball at the 1 yard line and the guy took it back 80 yards to, I think they had the other 20, the bench, the defense, the first string of the Yellow Jackets jogged, sprinted on the football field. And why? Because Coach Collins had said that he's teaching these guys about sudden change. Just put the ball down. Yeah, the offense may have had a mistake, but we got their back. Let's hold them to a field goal. And I think those are the little things that Coach Collins is trying to build off going forward in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about what this Georgia Tech defense has done this year and how far they've progressed. And, in the first half, they came up with the turnovers. They still gave up the majority of the points. I think all but 3. They gave up 17 in the first half. That second half, I mean, that defense was begging the offense to come back in that ballgame. The way that those guys play, they do enough up front to bring it to third down, and then you just see the playmakers again. I mean, Wanya making another pick. I mean, they're just the plays they have in the secondary, very reminiscent of what they did against Miami defensively, though on the offensive side of the ball, coming up short, not like you said, home team, not taking advantage of your opportunity.
What do you think about the switch at quarterback? Sometimes that's a strategic thing. Sometimes it's just the way the pace of the game is going. Sometimes a guy just doesn't have it. What did you think about switching quarterbacks in a game, to your point, that was still reachable and in hand to win at the time you made the change?
This is where above the line comes in at, because I don't think it was scheduled. I don't think it was scripted to have Lucas Johnson start in the second half. I thought Lucas starting in the second half was a direct result of James Graham not playing well, missing easy targets in the flats, not scoring off some of those turnovers, and you wanted a spark. And sometimes it's good to go to a spark and a guy that has a little bit of experience, has started games before. But when you look at it, he turned the ball over as well. He did move the ball, but he turned it over as well. I don't know how you go back to James Graham after that. So it's a kind of feeling out process, and I'm not quite sure that 8 games in that you found a quarterback going into the future at all. So you're still having a lot of challenging, reps, even for Jordan Yates, the freshman.
Yeah, and that's something that I want to talk about, because obviously we have 4 games left this season.
Right.
You have the red shirt rule where players can play up to 4 games before they take the red shirt, if you want to give it to them or not. Yates, I found this out this morning. Joe Ham had to give me some info on this one. I guess Jordan Yates was used during a 2-point conversion, extra point, whatever it was, late in the Duke game. So one of those 4 games that he could have has been scratched off the board. But you got 4 games left. I say, I think last week would have been a good opportunity, like you're talking about. When you take James Graham out, maybe you would have slide one of the young guys in there, but you didn't end up doing it. I know Dave Patno mentioned yesterday that they're going to look into getting Yates some opportunities.
Yes.
And you and I went back and forth on this the other day. Maybe it was a little bit emotional of me. I'm immune. Just throw Yates out there the rest of the season. Throw him out there as a starter. You got 4 games left. I like, now that I think about it, and you were much more level-headed about this. Now that I think about it, I like the idea of picking your places, when to put him in the game. Now, One of it could have been last weekend,
Yes,
may have
sir.
been a good spot. But much like last weekend, find a spot, leave James Graham out there, but find opportunities
Yes.
to get the young guys in there.
And I totally understand where you're coming from, and I'm almost there too, Nerny, with the fact that we've seen this guy out of Milton. This guy's homegrown, he won a championship winning quarterback in high school. We know he's dynamic and he's a dual threat. So we want to see a little bit of him. And I think you can check one of the boxes, even if you don't start him, as opposed to getting some reps on the road, getting some reps. So that's going to be valuable, but don't send him out there to the Sharks. Don't have the playbook wide open like he's a starter. Give him successful plays that he feels comfortable. Even ask him that on Friday. Hey, what's in this playbook that you're not that comfortable with, and we'll take it out. We wouldn't call it with you in there. We're going to try our best to script you for success.
Right, and I gotta say, and one more real quick, I've been very pleased with James Graham. He's exceeded my level of
absolutely,
expectations of what he's done in the quarterback. The fact, and I think the reason he got the nod after the first few weeks, one of the big reasons was the fact that dude will stand in the pocket and he will take a hit. His eyes are staying downfield. I think Lucas Johnson maybe sometimes at times got happy feet and tried to scramble before he needed to. James Graham, though, the way he stands in the pocket, it's very great to see that. Now the fact that he's not as accurate as you would like him to be at all times, I think that is kind of giving me a thought that this offseason it's going to be Yates, Graham fighting for the starting quarterback position next year. So let's give Yates some get some snaps.
All right, next up for the Jackets, the Virginia Cavaliers. They are a team that has a really good defense, and they're going to try to impose their will on the Jackets. Bronco Mendenhall is a good coach. He's going to try to identify some things. What should be the strategy? I think this is a game, especially when you're playing a good defense, you have to capitalize off any turnovers you get because field position is going to be key in this game and probably be hard to come by.
And mindset. You know, the Yellow Jackets is going to have to be prepared for a physical bloodbath. That's what Virginia wants to do, is maul you. They want to have their quarterback Perkins in the pocket, somewhat of a dual threat, like Cam Newton style, Tim Tebow style, with, total yardage. He might end up 250 passing, 100 yards rushing. You must contain him, and not let them rush the ball down your throat. And offensively, you got to save your defense a little bit. You have to move the ball and sustain drives and continue to execute or try to execute a little better on third down. And you can't have third and medium plus. You have the third and short to medium.
I would say for me, and I'll stick to defense on this one, it's all about your pass rushing lanes on this one. When you got a quarterback that's capable of escaping the pocket, listen, if you're going to let Perkins beat you, lean on your talented secondary. Make him beat your secondary with his arm, okay? When you're rushing from the outside, it's got to be from the outside. And defensive ends, do not let Perkins break the pocket, extend plays. If you can play smart football up front and leave it to your secondary to go up on those one-on-one battles, then I think Tech's defense can have some success.
That'll do it for this very special edition of Talkin Tech. This will be the last time Coach Sean Nerny will speak to all of us and to you as a single man. He's about to walk that aisle.
Life-changing experience, brother.
And become a married man. When next we see him, he will be betrothed to one and be working on new little jackets coming to the flash.
Both these guys will be there on Saturday, by the way.
Absolutely.
He's Joe Ham. He is Coach Sean Nerny. I'm Hometeam. We'll see you next week, Talkin Tech.